The story of Abraham. The story of Abraham is one of the most significant stories in the Bible. Abraham was called by God to leave his home and journey to a new land that God promised to him and his descendants. Abraham obeyed God's call and became known as the father of the Jewish people. Abraham's story begins with God's call to him in his homeland of Ur of the Chaldeans. God promised to make him into a great nation, bless him, and make his name great. Abraham believed God's promise and left his homeland, taking with him his wife Sarah and nephew Lot. As Abraham journeyed through the land of Canaan, God continued to make promises to him and test his faith. One of the most significant of these tests was when God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac as a test of his obedience. Abraham trusted God's plan and was willing to do as God commanded, but at the last moment, God provided a ram for the sacrifice instead. Abraham's faith and obedience to God were credited to him as righteousness, and God continued to bless him and his descendants. His son Isaac became the father of Jacob, who later became known as Israel, and his descendants became the 12 tribes of Israel. Abraham's story also includes some mistakes and failures, such as his decision to have a child with his wife's maidservant Hagar. This led to conflict and tension within his family, but God continued to guide Abraham and bless him. The story of Abraham teaches us about faith, obedience, and the faithfulness of God. Abraham's willingness to leave everything behind and trust in God's promises is a powerful example for us to follow, and his story reminds us that God's plans and purposes for our lives are greater than we can imagine.